Good morning and welcome. Welcome on behalf of the Carteret Community, this is Carteret Community College, good. Chamber of Commerce and Board of Directors and staff, I'd like to welcome you this morning. My name is Wanda Bennett, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy that you're here. First off, we'd like to thank our sponsors. We'd like to thank Rogers and Company, CPAs, for sponsoring, and also for Duke Energy. Let's give them a round. I'd also like to thank Carteret Community College for allowing us to be here in this beautiful space, the Elizabeth and Doug Townsend Event Hall, and also the culinary students for providing this beautiful breakfast. As we get started, I'd like to bring two people up. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to our new Chamber President, Erin Knight. She's going to say a few words this morning. Erin?
Good morning, everybody. It is amazing to see a full house here. This is what community looks like. So thank you, everybody, for coming out to hear so many wonderful speakers and to learn more about our community and all of our partners. As Wanda said, I'm the new president for the Carteret County Chamber. I'm really excited to be taking this position. I'm coming from Hemlock with experience, ready to dig in and do lots of great things. If I haven't met you yet, please come meet me, come by the office. The staff and I are doing really good to make it a welcoming space, so come see us. And thank you so much to Wanda and everybody for putting on this event.
Next, I'd like to bring up a fellow board member and chair of our Public and Legislative Affairs Committee, Will Rogers. Will's going to share a few words.
I'm Will Rogers. I'm a CPA here in town with Rogers and Company, and I joined the Chamber Board, I think, in January. We formed the Public and Legislative Affairs Committee, I think, in March or April, and here we are, full of people to hear about what's going on in our community. We were really stoked if 50 people showed up for this, and if 3 or 4 of the 9 people who agreed to be here would show up, and instead everybody said yes, did not have to have their arms twisted. So I appreciate all of you being here. I think this will be a wonderful event. And I want to acknowledge, we've got quite a few elected officials in the room, mayors, council folks. If you would please stand and leave or say hi. And I want to acknowledge, and again, thank you to Dr. Mancini and Shannon Olmstead, somewhere out there, and the culinary team for putting this together. This is, I mean, if we had a biscuit and made it through this, that would have been wonderful. Instead, they made a wonderful breakfast for all of us. And I want to recognize we've got a ton of city and county staff here, and I'd like for our chamber board members that have made it out today to stand if you can. Thank you for helping us. First of all, the rest of our chamber staff. Y'all stand up, because y'all are the ones that actually made this happen. All I did was harass a few folks to show up. Y'all actually put all of this together.
Oh, they're out in the lobby. You guys come on in.
Well,
They're still out in the lobby.
Well, thank you all for doing this.
So Taylor, Julie, and Brooke are our chamber staff, and they do an amazing job. Will, not to interrupt, but we also have some board seats available, so if anybody would like to serve on the chamber board, shameless plug.
Yeah, including this committee, so that y'all can help plan this relationship.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Will. So yes, we do have, for the upcoming year, some spots available, so we would love to have you be part of it. Please see Erin if you're interested. Thank you very much. All right, this is what we're going to do. We're excited about this event and about everybody being here and about hearing from the community. So this is a report to the community. And we have many of our leaders that are going to be here talking to us. If you have questions, you have their bios, you have their information, reach out to them later and ask the questions. We're going to get through this so we can all get back to the rest of our lives. And so I'll be introducing them one at a time. And first up, we have Dr. Tracy Mancini, President of Carteret Community College. Help me welcome.
Well, I can't do very much in 5 to 7 minutes, but all the guys have ceded me some of their time, so. But welcome to our campus, and thank you to the Chamber for organizing this event. And special thanks to Shanna, the chefs, and our students for preparing this wonderful breakfast for us. So, fun fact, Carteret Community College turned 60 this year on July 11th, and we are celebrating a year-long 60th celebration, and we've successfully raised enough money to update Joslyn Hall as a result of that, and have introduced the college's mascot. So, we are the Kraken. They asked us to start with a fun fact. Now I'll get to work. Carteret Community College's mission is to serve and empower our students and coastal community by providing high-quality education, workforce training, and lifelong enrichment in an innovative and inclusive learning environment. For 60 years, we have been supporting student and community success. When I think about the business community and the community at large, I was thinking about the focus areas where we are most impacting you. And right now we hear a lot about AI, but I kept boiling it down to 2 focuses that are actually IA. And those are improved alignment of our programs, services, and schedules to better serve the business community, and increased agility to respond more quickly to the urgent needs of the workforce. So we're improving alignment by broadening the pipeline of potential workers in our community. We start with our partners, Carteret County Public Schools, by bringing every single middle schooler in the county on campus to explore careers every year. In addition, this fall alone, we have nearly 20 career and technical education expos on campus where high school students are coming to learn about advanced manufacturing, construction and trades, farm to table, and transportation. We have grown our adult high school programs, so we're bringing more people in to get high school equivalencies, and we are also working really closely with the reentry community for justice-involved individuals. We're working currently with more than 70 justice-involved individuals and have identified 73 businesses in the county who are willing to interview and hire justice-involved individuals. And so we're really broadening your pipeline of workers and workforce. In addition, we're recruiting and hiring. We have a partnership with NC Works at our Big Rock Career Center, and we work with them to do hiring fairs so we can advertise your jobs, bring people in, help interview and screen them, and you can interview them there using the building as a mini office. We've done several of these for the North Carolina Ferry Division, and we've brought in more than 40 applicants each time, and they've been able to hire folks. We're also doing a lot of customized training for the business community. This past spring, we trained over 140 seasonal workers for the summer tourist boom in our Oliver Family Hospitality Lab just down the hall. So we brought them in for short-term training so that they were ready for the season. We also do team building workshops, and companies like Rogers Company come here to have personality and team work style assessments, and then they're put into groups and they do competitive baking or pizza making or boat building as a team building exercise. So we're here to support you in that. Our Small Business Center is a real gem, and for free you can take a lot of courses to support a new or existing business. You can learn about finances, computer technology, marketing, build a business plan, and we offer some vendor fairs so that new businesses can try out product lines and see what sells and what doesn't. We've also partnered with a local foundation called First Rung, who's offering seed money for small businesses. So once they've been through the Small Business Center and they have a good business plan, they can apply for some seed money so that they can start up a business. So in all those ways, we're improving our alignment with the needs of the workforce. We're also trying to increase our agility because we know that not everybody has 2 years to earn a degree, and not all employers have 2 years to wait for someone to earn a degree before they come to work. So it's a real trend to work on short-term workforce development in the state. And we were recently the recipient of a grant, only one of 2 Eastern North Carolina colleges to get a construction trades grant to start an academy, 8-week academy. We partner with the Carolinas Association of General Contractors and our local Home Builders Association. And in those 8 weeks, they learn carpentry trades, they learn electrical trades, plumbing, meet contractors, and often end the 8 weeks with a job already. We're doing that also with renewable energy. We've gotten a sub-grant from North Carolina A&T University to offer renewable energies academy, and we brought in a lot of students. We pay for their tuition, we give them a stipend to participate, and they come away with renewable energy, electrical technician training so that they can be hired. We're being responsive to the hospital and healthcare needs in the county. We're very good partners with Carteret Healthcare. We've doubled the size of our nursing program to accommodate the nursing shortage, and our nurses are still graduating with 100% pass rate on their licensure exams. So we're very proud of the quality while increasing quantity. And we're working on Surge Tech right now because there's a real need for Surge Tech. We'll be able to offer short-term workforce in that, as well as a Dental Assisting One program. So a bunch of dentists came to us and said we really need dental assistants. So within 6 months, we'll be able to start a dental assisting program. So I'll just conclude. I could go on and on. Please come take a tour of Carteret Community College because we have so much to show you here, and this is only scratching the surface. But I'll conclude with one more IA. So we have improved alignment, we have increased agility, but of the amazing leadership team, Mr. Arker's here, he does so much of the work I got to describe. Faculty and staff, if I could describe the quality and commitment of the faculty and staff here at Carteret Community College, it's amazing. Thanks.
AI the same. Thank you very much. Next up we have Mr. Richie Paylor, who's the superintendent of Carteret County Schools. Richie, come speak to us.
Good morning. As Dr. Mancini said, we were asked to share some fun facts, so I want to start with fun facts about our school system. There are 115 public school systems in North Carolina. Of those 115 school systems, Carteret County Public Schools ranked 5th this past year in test data when looking at the grades 3 through 8 math proficiency levels. Also, we ranked 5th when looking at grades math 3 through 8 in the career and college readiness. We ranked 5th among all traditional public schools in English 2 assessments. We ranked 5th amongst all public schools looking at in all tested subjects in college and career readiness. We ranked 3rd in traditional public schools for our biology scores. We ranked 3rd in ACT composite scores, and we ranked 1st in ACT work piece assessment scores. So we're very proud of that in Carteret County. Also, every eligible school in Carteret County was recognized by the U.S. News and World Report as a best school. Every one of our schools is designated as a Purple Star School, which indicates that it's military friendly, and we're one of only 11 districts in the state that's recognized as a Purple Star district, meaning that every one of our schools is a Purple Star school. So we're very proud of that. Carteret County Public Schools has roughly 8,000 students. We have roughly 1,200 employees. Those schools that serve our kids, we have 7 preschool sites. We have 1 preschool center. We have 9 primary/elementary schools. We have 5 middle schools, 3 traditional high schools, and 1 alternative school. We have a great reputation, as you've heard, for our academics, but we're also very proud of our athletic programs and our arts program, which we think is second to none. This past school year, we began a strategic planning process to plan for the next 5 years. We looked at various data sources and partnered with parents and community members to design a plan to meet the needs of every single student. Overwhelmingly, in meeting with these different groups, there were 5 topics that came to the top. The first, as you can imagine, would be safety. Safety of all students, we have to have safety first. After that, was career and college discovery. There was foundational literacy and learning, community involvement, and life skill development. We were very intentional to make sure that these areas of focus were woven throughout our strategic plan. During this work, it became clear that we were going to end up with a new vision and mission. So our new vision is that we're engaging, educating, and empowering all learners from Cedar Island to Cedar Point. Our new mission will be we will engage, educate, and empower all students by creating limitless learners, empowered educators, engaged environments, and connected communities. When you have an incredible school system, it's important that you capitalize on your strengths to make sure that you're very intentional in targeting the areas that need improvement. Our focus emerged in the 4 areas as mentioned in our mission. So first is limitless learners. We feel it's very important that we continue to see growth on our state assessments. We want to increase proficiency scores for all students and make sure that we're providing all learners with research-based instruction to increase the number of students proficient in reading by the end of 3rd grade. We want to increase exposure and opportunities for students to participate in career and college readiness activities. And last, we want to ensure that all students are digitally competent. Next was empowered educators. We have to continue to provide our educators to engage in relevant professional development, and we must recruit and retain high-quality individuals throughout all positions in our district. Next was engaged environments. Again, safety is first. We don't do anything more important than keeping all kids safe. We're committed to continuing to implement research-based practices that promote and support well-rounded members of all of our stakeholders, and through that we want to make sure that all of our students and staff, our mental health and well-being are at the forefront. And we know we need to increase our graduation rates. We're committed to being good stewards of taxpayer money through bond projects and capital expenditures. Last was connected communities. The success we've had and will continue to have is a direct result of our relationship with our schools, families, and communities. We will continue to collaborate with all stakeholders to expand learning opportunities for students. We will utilize frequent and ongoing communication tools both at the district and the school levels. And last, we will foster partnerships with businesses and organizations to strengthen community and build a sustainable workforce in our community. One program we're very proud of, we rolled out last year, was called the CAPE program. The CAPE stands for Careers and Partnerships in Education. Through that, we're placing interns in businesses. We started with ourselves, so we placed 4 interns in our facility support operations program. They got to work through the different departments of our facility support with electrician, HVAC, carpentry, plumbing, and through that, these 4 boys, they actually earned pay when they did it. They earned school credit through a class. We ended up hiring one of those boys this year. He works with us full-time in our HVAC department. We also partnered with the hospital. This past year, we placed 19 interns with the hospital that, again, they got paid through the hospital and they got school credit. We're in the process of placing 15 interns with Curtis Chevrolet. We're talking with Parker Offshore about possible partnering with them. So if there's any businesses that would like to partner with us, please contact us. We're looking to place interns in businesses for paid internships and for those students to earn credit and possibly stay with you for a career. In closing, we have a lot to be proud of in our school system, the accomplishments that we have. We also know that without the community partners, families, local government, our local government takes care of us very well. Our dedicated employees, as Dr. Mancini said, it's amazing when we talk with employees of the dedication they have to serve our students and families. We know without these partnerships that our success will not be possible. In the lobby, there are cards that look like this that have QR codes. On the QR code, one of them is a video message that talks about our strategic plan, and the other QR code is actually will take you to our strategic plan for you to see. That's all I have, so thank you for your support. I appreciate the invitation to be here.
Thank you, Richie. That's very informative. The 8th program. That's exciting. Very exciting. Okay, next up we have Commander Lars, Tormey, Supervisor of U.S. Coast Guard, Fort Macon. Thank you, Lars.
Good morning. Good morning. It's just a joy to be here with you all. My family and I arrived here in June, and I have to say it's been an absolute pleasure. Y'all have been very welcoming here at Carteret County. Thank you for welcoming us so warmly, and thank you also to the MAC for all that you've done to support Coasties and all our military here in town. As the Supervisor of Sector Field Office Fort Macon and the Coast Guard Logistics Officer for the state of North Carolina, it's an honor to represent the fine men and women of the U.S. Coast Guard and my operational commander, Captain Tim List. He's greatly disappointed in not being able to be here in person this morning, but sends his warm regards and is eager to be with you all the upcoming Veterans Day Parade next Saturday at November 4th. Also like to thank Lieutenant Lars for being here, former CEO of Coast Guard Cutter Rock'n'Call over at Fort Macon. I don't know what deal he worked with the detailer, but all he had to do was walk off the ship, and he joined me as a Deputy Logistics Officer, so thanks for being here. Now to the task at hand, some recent statistics and fun facts and events from 2023 Coast Guard operations in North Carolina. On the search and rescue front, so far in 2023, Sector North Carolina has saved 81 lives, assisted 455, and preserved $12 million in property. Most notably, on August 14th, we saved 4 divers that were adrift for 15 hours after being swept from their intended dive location by a strong underwater current. During Tropical Storm Ophelia, Coast Guard forces saved a family of 5 that included 3 children that were beset by weather at Cape Lookout. The newly qualified heavy weather coxswain, Hilo, which provided overhead light and safety as the 47 transited 8 to 10 foot seas and 40+ knot winds. 4 sailors were just saved and airlifted from their life raft on Saturday off the coast of Wilmington when their catamaran capsized. Some fiscal year 23 law enforcement statistics. I know we have a lot of voters in the room, so you probably love these. 2,219 total reporting, 76 commercial, 2,143 recreational, 217 violations, and 84 warnings. My apologies if those were any. But we're trying to prevent those SAR cases that I mentioned earlier. I'm sure our port director will share more about the economic benefits provided to our region through our ports. I'll simply mention that the Coast Guard supports their efforts through our regulation of port safety and security, exercising captain of the Port Authority to deny unlawful or unsafe entry or exit during adverse weather conditions, reinforcing and ensuring the continued economic benefits that those ports provide. The Coast Guard also supports safe and secure military outlets which support our nation's warfighters and foreign conflicts the world over. Finally, the thing that I believe most greatly impacts those of us here today are the service members themselves. Coast Guard service trains young people to embody our core values of honor, respect, and devotion to duty. It also imbues them with a sense of appreciation of service over self, eagerly serving their shipmates, their communities, and their nation with pride and professionalism. On top of executing their professional duties, Coasties serve the community in a myriad of capacities, including volunteering at Boys and Girls Club, beach or road cleanups, Veterans Association support, after-school and partnership and education programs, nonprofit board positions. I guarantee the list is much longer than this, as these are just a handful of examples I have overheard the men and women at Fort Macon discussing since my arrival. As the Coast Guard struggles post-pandemic to retain and maintain its target force readiness levels, and we wrestle with managing what missions and maintenance can go at risk, I would like to make a shameless plug for Coast Guard and military service. I'll start by reminding you that many servicemen and women return to the workforce and their home communities following a brief enlistment or 20-plus years. But after any amount of time in Coast Guard service spent anywhere, 300 different duty locations around the world, they are now equipped with the teamwork, technical skills, GI Bill benefits. They can come back here and earn their degrees, cultural awareness, but most importantly, in my opinion, the value of service above self. They are equipped to continue to serve others and their local communities. One unique aspect of Coast Guard service that I think a returning or retiring service member could bring to a coastal community like Carteret County are the maritime skill sets and the direct interface with maritime industry that is inherent to Coast Guard service. Otherwise, any of these amazing characteristics can also be attributed to service across all of our armed forces. God knows we need all of our Marine soldiers, sailors, and airmen. God bless the Coast Guard. God bless America. Thank you. Have a great morning.
Thank you, Lars. We're so grateful that the Coast Guard is here for us. Speaking of grateful, I'd also like to introduce Mr. Marek, Meno, Executive Director of the FRC East Readiness. Mark,
So, as y'all probably know, FRC East is a great county, so what are we doing here? So I've got 5 minutes to try to convince you. FRC East is the largest industrial employer east of I-95 and the 3rd largest in the state of North Carolina. We employ over 4,000 civilian employees, 80% of which are technical positions and technical trade positions. More specifically, every day, 1,100 Carteret County residents drive to FRC East to work. 533 from Newport, 229 from Morehead, 39 from Cape Carteret, 28 from Parker's Island, which I think is about half the population. As a matter of fact, show of hands, who knows somebody that works at FRC East or AF if you're older or an RC? There you go. So look around the room, that's most for everyone. But no big deal, right? We're a DoD government organization, the budget gets signed, we go to work, everything's pretty stable, not so fast. So unlike most government organizations, we run like a business. We get paid when we sell our work. If we don't get the work, we don't get paid. Our work volume is based on our rate, and we're competitive against other depots in DoD. They don't have to send us the work. Most of our work's fixed price, so we set the price and it's variable work, so we have to make up for that with efficiencies and improvements. We set the rate we charge 2 years before we start the year. You can imagine the economy, how difficult that is to project and remain competitive. We've been as low as about 3,200 employees in the last decade as a result of that, and as high as about 4,000 like we are today. So over a decade, that's 800 folks of variability, just in a decade. The bottom line, if we aren't competitive, we don't get to work. Good news, we are. In fact, from the unique space available that we have, that Colonel Burks may refer to in his remarks, to the work being done the way Eastern North Carolina does it, we've got a lot of work coming. As a matter of fact, we're projecting to grow to 500 more employees over the next 5 years. That's for scheduled work we know is in the schedule already. Our normal attrition hiring is a couple hundred employees a year to keep up with the attrition of our workforce. That's going to have to go up to 300 a year. 300 employees a year we're going to have to hire over the next 5 years. That normally warrant maybe a ribbon cutting or some sort of news coverage, but the reality is we're already a pretty significant economic engine for the area. Our average salary is $80,000. We do $440 million in payroll every year. We do $412 million more in contract work, and $28 million spent in construction. That's just last year's numbers. So a big impact on the local economy, not just Carteret County, but the surrounding area. But with all that comes a human capital challenge. Where are we going to get our employees? So Let me share a little bit of data for you. This is our attempt to make our own luck in fiscal year 23. We had 3,800 STEM engagement hours with our staff at 173 minutes, with 577 employee volunteers. We had 17,299 student contacts, 1,101 teacher engagements. Just in Carteret County, that was 2,489 student contacts and 156 teacher engagements. That's a lot of time spent out in the community trying to generate the workforce. So here's your homework in 2 parts. All right, part 1, Google FRC East, pick the news tab, sort by date. Learn about us if you don't know about us. There's 5 articles in the last month out there of some really good and varied stories, just so you get to know about us a little bit, and then spread the word. If you have a civic group and you want to come see us, contact us. Get on our webpage and let us know. We will take you on a tour to get you familiar with what's going on behind the fence line. That was homework part number 1. Part number 2, help us help you. We want to grow our workforce locally. We have better retention that way, we have a better workforce that way, and we have all the capable skills and knowledge we need right here in the county. If you have a kid or a grandkid or a neighbor kid looking for a job in a technical field, whether it's with an engineering degree or a technical trade, machinists, composites, electricians, we need them all. Point them our way. The reality is Eastern North Carolina and Carteret County is a great place to raise a family. That's a selling point for us. It's a selling point for me. We raised ours here. I cede my remaining time to the gentleman from Alabama.
Thank you so much. And think about the economic impact of FRCs. It's amazing, is it not? Absolutely amazing. All right, next up we have Colonel Brenden Burks, Commanding Officer of Marine Corps Air Station Sherry Point.
All right, good morning, how you doing? Good. All right, this is where everything goes downhill, so I apologize. But great to see everybody out here this morning. This is the definition of community. You know, everybody coming together, learning what's going on, working together on a common goal moving forward. So I'm going to take about 2 hours worth of briefing and try to put it into 5 minutes. So we're going to hit up a couple things, but first and foremost, I want to say a couple of thank yous. Thank you to Aaron. Y'all got a really good president here. Did great work up at Havelock, so I'm glad to see her down here. She's going to do great things. Look forward to being a part of that. Also, thanks to the Military Affairs Committee, who take very good care of your Marine sailors and civilians up at Cherry Point. So a lot of these individuals come through, and this is their first time away from home. All right, they're coming from California, Texas, Washington, New York. You know, don't even have cars. Come down here. And being away for the first time, the way that this community pulls them in and makes them feel like family is why so many of them, about 60% of them who retire out of Cherry Point, stay here in the local area. So thank you for what you're doing with all that. So give yourself a big round of applause. Okay, 2 fun facts real quick. All right, my organization, the United States Marine Corps, was started in a bar. All right, back in 1775 in Tun Tavern, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So we're getting ready to celebrate our 248th birthday. Our Navy brothers have just celebrated their 248th, and so this is a good time for the Department of the Navy and the Marine Corps together as we celebrate that good triumph. The other fun fact, Cletus is my call sign. All right. And if you look it up in Latin, it means strong. So that's, all right, that was supposed to get more laughs. Okay, so we're going to start, we're going to hit real quick a couple things. All right, so what are the state actions going on and how does that support everything that's going on here? So a couple big things as you look at, you know, those economic drivers that are out there. We've got agriculture, military, and tourism. You know, that's what's bringing in those economic impacts that are there. If you look at the big triangle, all right, this state in Eastern North Carolina has a golden opportunity, and I think the state is starting to take and work that's in there. Look between Elizabeth City, okay, the Coast Guard base up there. They do all the heavy depot. They do all the aircraft for the Coast Guard out of Elizabeth City, all right? FRC East, down at Cherry Point, all right? Right there, they do the majority of the lion's share of all the Navy and Marine Corps rework. They're one of the big three, all right? 3 big repair depots around the U.S. Cherry Point, Jacksonville, Florida, and North Island, California. We are the only base that has room to grow. Everything else is encroached upon, where they can't continue to grow. They have to tear a line down, rebuild it up, stop work to make it happen. We don't have that problem, all right? And then you look at Seymour Johnson. So make that your aviation triangle. Within that triangle, you have a dense population of aviation artisans, highly skilled and trained, that takes years of working in that craft to be able to do. So the state's looking at investing in the aviation corridor in between Seymour Johnson and Cherry Point. So we'll start to see more aviation popping up within that corridor that's coming on. I-42, all right, that's coming. All right, we'll be driving on the Havelock bypass hopefully next summer that comes through. But as you start to look and you connect to your markets, all right, so the big things that we look at the base here, your roads, your rails, your airports, and your seaports. All right, those 4 things help us deploy, redeploy, and sustain forces that are out there. All right, so that's kind of really big what the state is coming through. Second mall, all right, we've got 6 F-35 squadrons coming in. All right, we've got our first one that stood up last summer. We've got 5 aircraft currently, and then we'll get our second squadron standing up this summer. Give it a year break, and we'll have squadrons 3 and 4 starting to start up. So continuing to grow. And if you harken back to 2010 at the height of the surge, we were at 10,000 Marines and sailors aboard the base. Currently today we're at 6,000. We knew we were going to get down to that bathtub because we retired the Browder aircraft. We're retiring the Harrier aircraft right now, but now we're starting to scale back up. So we're starting to climb out of that bathtub. We're going to land somewhere between 7,200 and 8,000. All right, so it's going to take you back around to the 2016 time frame, is where we're looking at right now. So as Mark had talked about the growth that's coming through, what we see, with that and pulling FRC's numbers as well, we expect to grow by 1,200 between now and 2030. All right, that's 900 Marines and sailors that will be coming in, and then 300 civilians that are supporting FRC East. And that's just within Craven County, that we're talking about in that little sphere of the So outside the county, FRCs continues to grow and expand and bring their work in. Now for second law as well, you'll also see a new aircraft that will start to appear out there. It's called the MQ-9 Predator. All right, so it's an unmanned aerial system. Big Air Force has been flying it for years. It's just Marine Corps now. That gives us a platform that we can shoot from. All right, it has local reach. So what you'll see in the future is that aircraft will deploy outside of the U.S. to other places. The pilot will actually be controlling that aircraft from Cherry Point. All right. FRC East, big kudos to all their work and their team. They've gone out, they pulled work that was up for grabs. All right, because in the military we're really good about buying things, but not paying and going ahead and programming up front the repairs that are going to need to be done. So working with FRC East and in Cherry Point here, you'll see real quick, and I apologize for the people over here on my right who probably can't see the board, but Cherry Point is defined by water on 3 sides, 4 8,000-foot runways with the center mat that's in there. All right, you'll see that we are all combined in 1/4 of the base. All right, the rest of this is developable land. All right, so what we're doing right now, you'll see construction down 101 or Miller Boulevard. You'll see a lot of clear cutting that's going on. We're removing FRC East out of 1942 hangars, and we're building new. So we're building the first purpose-built aviation depot in the U.S. Airport Cherry Point. They have 1/4 of the base fully developed over the next 100 years. So they are not constrained like anybody else, and that's what's going to bring more of that into to the area here. And you say, hey, Cletus, well, why do you care about repairing, all these things in here? It is a direct correlation in relation to getting that asset back in the hands of the warfighter faster and cheaper, so we can take that other money, reinvest it into things we need. So that's why it's so important here for those. All All right, before I get the hook, let's see here, station, things we're doing, we got 5 major projects we're working on to help support all this growth and change. We're really investing in utilities, a lot of old utilities. When you start thinking about 5th generation aircraft, you're gonna need lots of other things. Some of these aircraft run about 6 million lines of code a second, all right? So it takes a lot of power, a lot of fiber, a lot of water to cool the things that are out there, so we've got to invest in those. I look at that investment and time doing it now is that we are in our prep time before the next engagement, next near-peer competition, that leads to war. All right, so anything that we can do to prepare ahead of time and get that laid in now just means that we have better capability at the time of need and go. All right, so because the whole goal is if we have those in, guess what? With all that land that's not developed there, we can throw out concrete pads, we can put up shelter clamshells that are out there, and we can put 12 additional spotters out here on the flight line. All right, that's the strategic piece that we bring to our nation to be prepared to go forward. All right. OLFs are outlined fields. All right. So what will you see? Cherry Point's not just the airfield right there, but it's made up of a complex of 6 different locations. All right. BT9, BT11, Atlantic Field, Oak Field, Oak Grove, Cherry Point. When you look at all those 6 locations, 5 of them are accessible by water. Well, guess who gets to the objective by water? Your United States Marine Corps, all right? So we need those water areas to train in, all right? That's our amphibious training. So think of this area here is the equivalent of the combined arms ranges out in 29 Palms, where they go to train. People come to do amphibious operations training here, all right? And we're helping support a lot of advanced technology training. In testing going on, especially with the Office of Naval Research and Marine Systems Commands, all right? We've been testing AI, we've been testing Super Swarm, we've been testing LRUSB, which you probably don't know, that's a ski boat with a ski raft, and it goes and it'll use AI to determine good guys and bad guys, and it goes after the bad guys, all right? Great stuff, all right? Autonomous resupply, there's a lot of good things that are going on. And it is the area here and all of the support that makes that happen. So thank you. And that's helping us as a nation be ready and prepared when they need us. Last thing I'll leave to is bringing in the private organizations. All right. So big one, CAP, Civil Air Patrol, just graduated 144 cadets. There at Cherry Point this weekend. All right. That was pretty neat to see. Because time is our most valuable asset. That's the one thing you can't buy, all right? And for people to choose, especially 12 to 18-year-olds, to choose to spend their time making themselves better and making themselves leaders. And so that right there was pretty eye-watering to watch. They look like final drill pairs. I'll tell you, I'm blown away, so I had to stand up and big hoorah. But those are the type of leaders that are starting to be made in this area. They're the leaders we're going to need going forward, all right? Not just in the military, but in our communities, in our institutions, in our schools. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for supporting all those things. We are a partner, within this community. So let us know what we can do to help. We will communicate as well, so what we have going on as well. And I'll say, last thing I always leave and I plug on is that, in the military, we're really good about planning. When you think about, you say, hey, you plan your close battle space, all right, what's your current fight? But then, you look at your deep battle space, what's that future fight that I need to shape the conditions to be, for success when I get there, all right? And I always say the one thing that we can do to shape that deep battle space is to continue to invest in our school systems, all right? Because that is your current and future job force. And really the gold standard, there's been a lot of good work in the areas of the Purple Star, between Carteret and Craven County Schools. That is great. I'm going to ask that we take it to the next level. Look at those per pupil funding, okay? Those are the things we need to invest in to make sure that our next generation of leaders within our communities, militaries, institutions have that, above average, and they maintain that advantage over our competitors. So other than that, I know I probably went over, you were very gracious not to give you the call signs, please. Look forward to having you aboard Cherry Point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl, please. That's pretty cool, wasn't it? Okay, well, Chip's coming up here, right? Chip Killmeier, Operations Manager of NC Ports, Morehead City.
Well, it's still back to all the ranks, but always had them out in front of the best place. See a lot of familiar faces. I talked to a few of them in different Rotary groups and things like that, so you guys know two things can be tough for me today. One is staying on script, two is doing this in less than 6 minutes. I'll do my best. They asked to start with the fun facts. Fun fact this morning is Morehead City Port predates Morehead City itself. And that's prior to 1850, when it had its first development, major development, I should say, with a pier, warehouse, and rail facility, used to be known as Pier 1. Jump ahead about 100 years. So 1945, following World War II, Morehead City, the state established North Carolina State Port Authority. That includes Morehead City, as well as the port in Wilmington, and now an inland port in Charlotte. So the Morehead City Port is a bulk and break bulk terminal. We'll talk a little bit about that when I get down to the different cargoes. And Wilmington is a container, as well as bulk and break bulk. And bulk is those materials that come in bulk force. So you see the giant pile of dirt just out there, that's agricultural line. So talk about the fertilizer and agricultural community that's going on here, especially down east. So a lot goes there. Break bulk is anything that's packaged. So rubber, biggest one you probably see is being lumber packaged in bundles, running up and down the roads here by truck. So we do a lot of that. The mission of the ports when we were established was to bring commerce to the state of North Carolina. So I'll talk about, I'll wrap up with how we're doing on that as we go. We had our first appropriations were in 1949. That led to building our first warehouse. That's in 1952. Paul said tobacco warehouse, the red brick building, for those who see, go by the southeast corner of the port. It's still in service today. So 70 plus years, they don't build like that anymore. So, with that, most of the building happened between 1952 and 1972, and we've been living off that seed corn for about 50 years since then. So the state did start bringing us recurring funding after about 2015. So we're starting to see that now. We have over $50 million of projects going on the port right now. We're refurbishing Berg 4 and 5, which is the southeast corner docks. Those are 70-year-old docks there. So they were designed at 35-foot depth. That was fine for the vessels at that time. We're taking down to the 45-foot design depth. That matches our inlet depth that I'll talk about also. So we're also extending the crane rail. So for those who remember Skyline, about 7 years ago when I started, we had two 1968 American cranes out there. We finally tore those down and replaced them with a Libra crane in 2019. We're in the process of buying a second crane now. So hopefully by this time, 2025, we'll see a second crane down there on the port. And we just would need that. That one was a bit of work for us since we got there. On that, as a state entity, so the port is a state entity, which means we operate as an independent business. That means the revenue that we generate goes back into the port for pay our expenses, our operating costs, and our facility sustainment. That money that comes from the state is for capital expansion. Talk about the Burks. We're also building a new warehouse north of the big A-frame warehouse there. So we have 75,000 square foot. It's a little over 1 million square foot that we maintain right now outside our warehouse workspace. We also maintain 40 acres on the general terminal itself. Other projects that are going on, we're refurbishing the conveyors that feed the wood chips. So hopefully by this spring, we'll start seeing wood chips come in again, which supports our North Carolina agriculture there also. A lot of people don't think of wood chips as agricultural. That's one of the big crops in North Carolina is our southern yellow pine. See, I'm already off script, so I got to bear with me here a second. Morehead State Port, 128 acres on the general terminal. So we generally split that. That's right there adjacent to Morehead City downtown. North of the highway is predominantly our lease partner with PCS, now Nutrient. They've been there in the Department of Port since the 60s. So that big A-frame the dome warehouse and all the conveyor system, that's leasehold improvements they put in, bring their material down, they're exporting phosphoric acid, mostly liquid, but then some dry bulk fertilizers, comes out of the water plant, comes down by barge. We moved 1.74 million tons last year. About a third of that goes by barge, never hits the roads or the railroad coming through Morehead City. Goes directly from the vessel onto the barge and up there coastal waterway. We're right on the turn on the coastal waterway, so right on that corner, port, going up to Newport Rivers, where we get a lot of traffic for that. We do push quite a few rail cars. We were doing, probably 7 years ago, about 1,000 rail cars a year. Last year, we broke 5,000 rail cars. We've had 2 record years in 2022. Last year, we broke that, 2023 for another record. We're shooting for 3 in a row this year. We'll see. The economy is not being very kind to us right now, but we're trying. With that, 154% growth over the last decade. And like I said, a couple record years there. We'll talk about the rail. So, who here has not been stopped or held up by the rail? So, we're working closely with North Carolina Rail to do that. A lot of times you see that rail car, train in the road, they're stopping prior to 4th Street, so you can still get by. So if you're heading down east, just keep on going, you'll be able to get by, hopefully. If not, when they're pulling it in, it's going to be less than 30 minutes, 45 minutes before that in. While you're sitting there waiting, count the rail cars going by, truck 100 on a unit train, every rail car is at least 4 truckloads. So think about how many truckloads will be running up and down the Middle Street to go up to that rail car. So it's not as bad. I too have been stuck on the road. So we talked about 500,000 tons moving by barge. That was one of the things that I didn't factor in is how much traffic actually lose on their coastal waterways when we started working here. Dredging. So we dredge an inlet every year. So the tonnage that we move through the port, so these record years, 1.7 million tons, goes into the calculus the Army Corps of Engineers uses to figure out the prioritization for all the ports that they have to fund and dredge throughout the United States. So right now, the Army Corps is spending $15 to $20 million a year dredging in North Carolina, or in Morehead City. So every third year that goes on the beach at Atlantic Beach. So beach nourishments benefit there, but we all benefit by the fact that we're dredging. If not, that inlet at Bogan Inlet would look just like Gopher Inlet, or it looked like Oregon Inlet. We have navigation issues. The channel depth would be about 18 feet. So our commercial fishermen benefit from that. Our recreational fishermen benefit from that. We all are safer getting in and out when trying to run out the lookout on that side. So you doubled our capacity in the last few years, and we're trying to do that again. So now we talk about cargoes. So we're the number 2 importer of raw rubber in the country. New Orleans being number 1, and other than Katrina is pushing us into the number 1 spot for a couple of years. Many people already talked about that. Lumber. So when COVID started, everybody stayed home doing their DIY projects. We went from 75,000 tons of lumber a year to a little over 200,000 tons a year. We haven't stepped back since. So we're still moving a lot of lumber. We added Home Depot and Lowe's, so a lot of lumber's going out by roads, going right to their distribution centers. And Home Depot's getting ready to open another distribution center in Charlotte. That's going to be on the NS line, which is the railroad that supports Morehead City. And we'll see some increase in that coming. So there is a season to lumber. So we've got our first ships at dock for this season, and it runs around until after holiday around August timeframe. Then take about a 2-month lull and we'll kick off. So hopefully another good year, over 200,000 tons on the lumber side that we want. Grain, we're pushing over 200,000 tons of grain. That seems to be a growth industry right now. It's mostly organic grains coming into the country. So anybody eat organic chicken? All right, keep it up, because that's going to do the work. Most of the grain goes to the feed mills to feed those organic chickens. If they're not organic, they don't eat organic grain. So we're going to fertilizer. We talked about that. A lot of potash went out. That's the rail increase. Lately, that's going to come down from Canada and exporting there. Steel. So the Nucor steel plant up in Burks, North Carolina, on the Chowan River. A lot of that raw materials comes from Trinidad and Tobago, comes in, goes by barge, straight up the river, as well as pig iron. On that was just scrap steel. Spirit Arrow. So the big white packages that you see taking up 2 lanes going eastbound on the 70. So that's the fuselage for Airbus 350. It's built in Kingston, it's exported here, put on a vessel, and runs over to France to be built out. So every time you get something behind those, and there's at least 1 or 2 of those every week. So we get a ship, basically a ship a week on the Spirit. Locomotives, those are always fun, get a lot of excitement, we get a lot of calls from all the, rail enthusiasts about locomotives and where they're going. We're exporting locomotives now. Project cargo we're working on. In fact, we had a meeting with some potential business here, coming back in for some more onshore wind capability going up around the Elizabeth City. And cement, already talked about phosphoric acid, and I guess about it. Grain, lumber, that's it. So, how are we doing overall on our mission? So, annually we produce over $16 billion worth of economic output for the state of North Carolina, $660 million for tax revenues, both local and state tax, as well as supporting over 88,000 jobs for the state. So, I think it's a pretty good bang for your buck. We're happy to do it. Thank you.
I guess we'll all have a new perspective when we get stuck behind the train. For sure, I know I will. Okay, next up we have Killmeier, President and CEO of Carteret County here.
Thank you. These are definitely some tough acts to follow, but bear with me, we'll get through this. I asked to share an interesting fact, and one that was shared with me. The original Morehead City Hospital was where the Bass Hotel is now. And when it was decided to they needed a larger hospital, the decision was made, they decided to sell peanuts to raise the money to be able to put the hospital where it's originally located. And you guys can probably agree with me, it takes a little more than peanuts to grow a hospital. Some areas of growth that I'd like to share with you guys, that Dr. Mancini spoke to, and Mr. Paylor spoke to. We had 19 interns come to Carteret Healthcare this past year, and that came down at 75 applicants to be able to work in different areas within the hospital that kids don't really understand exist in the hospital. Most of those areas they applied for were environmental services, food services, our engineering or maintenance department, information technology, and then our certified nursing. From that, I'll tell you, we gained a great pipeline, and we were able to retain 5 of those people, and they are now currently employees of ours. And each semester, we're getting more and more people involved in that, and we're trying to grow that with the Carteret County School. Also, as Dr. Mancini spoke to, she's helping us out greatly with recruiting and gaining more nurses with the 2 classes, the 2 cohorts that are going. And we just had a great call last week in regards to search specialists as a national shortage and how we can get them in the hospital faster. Another thing we started an extern program for college students that didn't have an internship but wanted the experience to be able to study in healthcare. We had 4 this year, and we hope to grow that exponentially year after year. Now, some things I'd like to share with you guys on how we're growing as an organization to keep up with all the growth that everybody spoke to previously. One that you may or may not be aware of, that over this past weekend, we opened up 5 new OR rooms. Our previous OR rooms were built in 1991, and the largest room was about 450 square feet. Now, I don't know if you guys kind of know how big 450 square feet is. If you put about 15 people in there and some equipment, it is real tight. The new rooms, the smallest we have, is 900 square feet. And we did that to be able to do surgical robotic devices. Part of that, we're renovating the old surgical services areas in our PACU area or recovery area. Our goal is to get that open and finished in April of 2024. One other thing you may have noticed is we've done a lot of work over the armory property. Part of that is previously, a long time ago, we used to land a helicopter out in front of the hospital on the front lawn before we built the pavilion. And then we were landing it on the grass over there in the armory. We worked with the FAA and the county to actually design a full FAA-approved helipad. And our goal is to have that open at the beginning of December this year. So that allows us to transport patients safely from the hospital out into some of the tertiary care areas. Right now, in the interim, what we're doing, because they came in there, the Marine Fisheries has graciously allowed us to land at their property. One of the major other things that we've been working on for a while, is that in 2021, we petitioned the state health coordinating council for an additional linear accelerator. This is a machine that's used to treat cancer patients and give them radiation therapy. Health organizations cannot just buy this type of equipment. We have to apply and receive approval for that. So from the state, you have to go and apply for what's known as a certificate of need. In 2021, we were successful in getting that. And we were given the opportunity to purchase a second linear accelerator, which will be part of our new big expansion you guys will see happening here shortly. This was based off a 75% efficiency study. And we calculated, well, our accelerated growth in 2021 was 6%, and we continue to see an average growth year-over-year of radiation treatment at 6.8% growth. So that's huge. And to keep up with those demands, we had to get an additional tier accelerator. Part of that accelerator is you have to have the space to put it, and you guys know everybody's challenge with space. So we are in the process of designing, and you'll see us start very shortly, a brand new expansion on the south entrance of the hospital. That south entrance, that south expansion will be about 40,000 square feet. The first floor will be a 21,000 square foot radiation therapy department. That will house the 2-liter accelerators, all the exam rooms, and all the radiation therapy department, all in one area. As part of that, we do, I don't know if you guys are aware, we have one radiation therapist, Dr. Kyle Russo, great. He was very successful in growing his practice here. He was able to recruit his brother, Dr. Chad Russo. So now we have 2 brothers who will be running our radiation therapy department, which is, I think it's kind of a big deal to have 2 brothers. It's fun to watch them interact. I think constantly ask which one's better. Different story, basically. One says he's a better athlete, the other one says he's more academic. So. Also, as part of our study, when we were looking at this radiation and cancer growth and how this area is growing, we knew that we were going to have to expand our current medical oncology. And with that, we're going to add additional exam rooms. The additional exam rooms will be, we're going to have to put 10 total, sorry, we're going to add an additional 4 exam rooms for a total of 10. And we're adding an additional 2 provider offices, so we can have 6 providers in our medical oncology. And that's where they do the infusions, your chemo infusions. Because we knew that with the growth of the area, we were going to need an additional minimally 4 infusion bays. So we're adding an additional 5 infusion bays based off the space we have to grow. And what we'll do is once we add this new addition out in front of the hospital, we're going to have to renovate the whole medical oncology, which if you guys are coming to the hospital, you see it's our conference area. So the second floor of this new expansion is going to actually be a conference area that's roughly about 14,000 square feet. We'll have 5 conference rooms. We've got a lot of ideas from Dr. Mancini and the community college for that. And then once that's done, we'll renovate medical oncology to add those additional bays. Right now, the goal is to start this project around, well, you'll see some work done because we're going to have that additional parking. If you guys know, we've got the hospital, know where to park. We're working on that. We'll start parking in the December timeframe, and then the building will actually start that process around the February timeframe. We're going to see a lot of work coming in out of the hospital, and these are the kind of areas we're growing to try to assist our community so you don't have to travel outside of this area to get great treatment here. One other thing I wanted to add is we will be having a new medical director at our ED start November 1st. Her name is Dr. Kelly Richie. We will get her out in front of you guys to be able to meet her. We've not had a permanent medical director for the ED for a couple of years, 18 months at least, 2 years. So we're glad to have her. I'm going to save the rest of my time for Tommy Burns. So it's been long and well. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate that. Okay, so how many of you were born in the old Morehead City Hospital? Raise your hand. Oh, check it out. Okay, I saw 3. I saw Bill and Doug and Tommy. Anybody else done this? Oh, okay. Oh, look at there, Cheryl. Okay, so glad. So glad. There's 5 of them, right? 6 of you. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Okay. Next up, we have Jim Browder, Executive Director of Tourism Development Authority. Help me welcome Jim.
Just real quickly, I just want to say, in reference to is the event of the president and congratulations on the retirement and Godspeed. And I want to welcome here as well. It's very important work to us, and we appreciate your support. Let me start with the fun facts. Some of you may not know that North Carolina is number 20 out of 50 states in terms of visitors. Very strong presence on the tourism industry. Carteret County is ranked number 11 out of 100 counties in terms of visitors. So it's a very, very strong presence. I'll translate to dollars. In 2022, $700 million spent on our local economy in Carteret County. basically the equivalent of $10,000 per resident as a minimum child. So it's very impactful on the area. That also reduces our tax base, which means each household will save over $717 in taxes that they not have to pay for the schools. So we don't just cause traffic problems in July. We try to spread this out a little bit. But what a lot of people, and I'll just reference it because a lot of people don't know what the TDA does. They just these two visitor centers because, quite frankly, you're not our customer. Our customer is well beyond 150 miles out because we focus a lot of our energy on trying to generate overnight stays for the county. Why overnight stays? It creates the greatest economic impact on the area. Have to drive, eat grocery stores, get gas, eat in restaurants, as the wealth gets spread. We have a lot of daycares, we certainly don't discount that, but the greatest economic impact is from lodging, and that's what spreads out through that. So that's our primary focus. So how's Carteret County been doing? I tell everybody, I said, I have never seen a normal year in this county. I started a month before Florence, and of course we've gone through 2 hurricanes and COVID, so I'm not really sure what a normal year is here, but kudos to the resilience of Carteret County. Out of the last 60 months that I've been here, we have set all-time monthly records 37 counts. That's pretty incredible. Lodging revenues have increased 78% over a 5-year period. So it's been great for everybody. Now, the COVID and hurricanes, while they create some great opportunities for us, they also create some long-term challenges as well. So why did we do well during the hurricanes? We did well because all of the relief workers had to find lodging. And that's what filled us up. And that helps spread it to the county as well. COVID, that's a whole different animal. And we anticipated what it was going to do short-term and what it was going to do a little bit longer out. But basically, once everybody locked down and didn't want to go into high-density hotels, they didn't want to go into high-populated towns, they all headed to the beaches and the mountains. That's a huge benefit to us because we have 85% of our lodging in 4-acre vacation homes. So people were able to come here and work from home, go to school from home, and they're home in another beach. So instead of weekly rentals, we were actually running monthly rentals, 3-month rentals. People came down here with the problems in that area. They drive prices up. Not only did it drive lodging prices up, but it also drove prices up all over. And that inflation was up there too. But you can see it causes a long-term problem. The analogy I used with our board about 3 years ago, I said, here's what's going to happen. I said, believe it or not, this is a year of the 9/11. People didn't want to go to high-rises, they didn't want to go to high-density areas. It's the same thing. All headed for the beaches and the mountains. I said, prices are going to go up. Everybody's going to push everything, and because nobody wants to go anywhere else. The economy will open up. International air travel will happen. The theme parks will open back up. Downtown areas will start thriving again. Cruise lines will open again. So what will happen is we'll be down on the shared market once again. So the rates will be here, and the occupancy will start going this. We're in that right now. The good news is we still get the same revenue. The good news is it helps us maintain our sense of place because there's fewer people here. So we can make the same revenue with fewer people. Now, what that challenges the DEA to do is how do we go find a new customer? Because when the prices went up, we were traditionally, the vast majority of our people were coming from Raleigh and Charlotte and outlying areas. We basically fired our customers because we priced them out. So a lot of them can't afford it to come here, but a lot of them started spreading out to other destinations. We were trying to look for where do you find a customer that will pay more money and still be able to drive here because, as you know, our airport access is a little bit limited. So we were able to take the money that we made, the additional monies, and reinvest in our advertising. We increased our spend into North Carolina in terms of Raleigh and Charlotte. The reason we did that is because both of those towns and metropolitan areas have a 9% population turn annually. That means people are moving in, people are moving out. So ultimately what happens is our 2 primary markets will consume hundreds of thousands of new people every year that didn't even know we existed. So we actually dialed it up in those 2 areas. We took another chunk if you go to DC, on the outskirts of DC, it is basically the same distance as Charlotte. So we pushed up by 95 corridor with all this new money and started pushing very hard. And the reason we targeted that was the money. The household income from Richmond to Baltimore is 2 times the household income of Charlotte and Raleigh. So we've got twice as much money to spend. They're driving right by us heading to Myrtle Beach and up there. And so we went and pushed up that particular area and we pushed it hard. We started that 2 years ago. And I think you guys will talk about that. So a lot of you guys have seen before. But what's happened is our numbers did drop in Raleigh and Charlotte a little bit, but we made up for it coming out of the corridor. And again, the beauty of that is that gives us the opportunity, because our goals are, number one, to drive economic impact based on tourism. That's our number one goal. The other thing we have built into that, in addition to economic impact, is also in our mission statement to help maintain the sense of place. That's what makes us special. So our goal has never been to be more obese. We don't want to overdevelop. So we drive more money with fewer people. We help our businesses quite a bit when we push a year-round destination. We don't advertise much at all for the summer. Almost all our advertising is short months in the off-season. Reason being is we don't have to overdevelop the area. We don't build infrastructure. We can take more people in, let's say, September and not have to build them in. We've got all the tour group activities, we've got all the restaurants, we've got all the accommodations. So we can spread the economy, which is what we try to do. We can actually benefit and help our businesses on a year-round basis. So that balance is pretty delicate. Unfortunately, and fortunately, we're a very, very small office. We use a lot of external partners, and that's what makes it a little bit complicated sometimes. We get very, very busy, and I know that's what I can't tell that much lately. Our ad agency is in Lansing, Florida, our PR firm is in New York City, our web developers are in Tucson, Arizona, our search engine optimization people are in Austin, Texas. So we deal not only on the line, Karen, especially on our staff, is a phenomenal job. But we spend a lot of time with external partners trying to keep the machine going. And we're not in today's world. We're looking 2 and 3 years down the road. We're trying right now to finalize our summer advertising for next year and beyond, and set up strategies for 2026 and 2027. So the little visitor centers are extremely important in helping people get acclimated with the community and go out and stand. I put a bunch of these books out there, and people can take them up and try to go out there. And this basically did what we give to people. We send out, when I first came here, we used to send out about 15,000 people a year. We're now sending out 60,000 people. And the request has just gone off the charts, and so it's very comprehensive. A lot of information on the restaurants, what we can do in the area, and it's very helpful to visitors. But I want to thank you guys as well, because we can't do any of this without getting any of you. Tourism impacts every single human being in the community. It's our lifeline here, if you will, is what we do with someone else. And because you guys are welcoming and you're understanding what that means, a little heavier invitation to these people, and you really try to help them have a good time, they'll return. The more they return, the less money I can spend. It's awfully hard to find a new customer. It's very easy to have somebody come back, and you guys make it so special. So that's why we're very, very successful in the county, and it's all that you guys do. So just thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. We appreciate that. It's a beautiful crystal coast that we live on. All right, next up we have Tommy Burns, our county manager. Help me welcome Tommy.
I get the opportunity to close us out today. Those of you that have had the misfortune of attending the county commissioner meeting, you'll know that I'm not a very eloquent speaker nor a very long-winded one, so you're in luck. I want to certainly take a minute to thank all of our partners that have made this event possible. Mr. Rogers and his staff at Rogers and Company, Duke Energy, Chamber of Commerce. I met with Ms. Bennett and Mr. Rogers a few weeks ago, and we were talking about this event and the importance of doing these types of events to it furthers the county's outreach and the chamber's mission and outreach. And I think it just builds a lot of goodwill and relationships within the county. So I want to thank all of you first for being here today. We've got a number of our partners, our military partners, we've got community partners, our school system, community college, hospital. We all work very well with all of these agencies. I think the reason that our community college is successful and our school system is successful and our hospital is successful is because the investment that our county has made and continues to make in all these institutions. We're very proud of all of their achievements, and I think that representation of that success we all feel through our community. So we can all this folks. I can talk to you about a number of things within the county. The county has certainly been, as Jim mentioned, the last 5 years have just been probably the most abnormal that we've experienced with 2 storms back to back, COVID, readjusted in our workforce. That's one of our greatest challenges right now, probably our workforce recruitment. The challenge we as the county have is some of the same challenges that you have, offering competitive wages, competitive benefits, offering a workforce that is motivated. And it's hard to counsel with a 20-year-old employee that, you're not going to make a ton of money working in local government, but you can make a little bit of money for a long time. They don't always understand how that works. So we've experienced some of the same challenges that you all have. I was talking with one of my friends, Mal Garland. I think Mal's here somewhere, but Mal and I were talking. He and I are both military history aficionados. I guess that's what we would call it. But, we were just talking through all of the great books that are written about the military history of the Marine Corps, in particular that day. And we were talking about we were talking about the campaigns in the Pacific, and just as a free attitude, one of the greatest books ever written about any type of military history was a first-hand account called With the Old Creek by Dr. Eugene Sledge, who was a Marine in World War II Pacific. And one of the things that bothered him years after the war was the waste of human potential that he saw. We talked about that over and over in some of his later writings and lectures. And we've seen some of that in our own community. And Dr. Williams, our Consolidated Human Services Director, that was one of the first things we tasked him with when he came on board, was to help us address the opioid crisis. It's not only in our county, but it's in our state. It's all over our country. And it's very sobering to look at the statistics. And the county commissioner knew that we had to, somebody said, catching them at the end of it is not going to solve the problem. We've got to do something to get people where they need to be. So through the opioid settlement that the Department of Justice resolved last year, the county, all of our counties in the state, have been distributed a funding stream for the next 18 years to help our communities deal with that issue. And one of the things that we have tried to do is put in place, we call it our core team. If you hear it referenced in some of our news releases, it's a post-overdose recovery team and response team. And so what they do is they try to go out and meet these people where they are to provide them immediate access to resources. Because one of the disconnects we found in talking with our community partners is that somebody overdoses, they don't have any, nobody talks to them, nobody follows up with them. They may be at a point in their life where they're ready to get help. And that's typically, it has to be, the onus is on the people to make that decision to seek that help. And so we put together a team that goes out, they go to just about every overdose call we have in our county now, and they can follow that person through, whether it's to the hospital, to a recovery program. But it doesn't just stop there. We partner with employers to get these people gainfully employed once they're through recovery, and they have sobriety in their life. And that is a way we feel that we can continue to reinvest in the human potential in our county. Somebody talked about it earlier. It's the folks that are in the school system now that are going to be those leaders that we're all going to depend on in the future. So that's where we put our focus. The fun fact I didn't share, the county turned 300 years old last year. We were founded in 1722. We talked about doing this marketing campaign, redoing our logo, but the county commissioners decided that they felt like the best way to commemorate that was to reinvest in the History Museum of Carteret County. And Morehead City was also a partner in that, and we were able to provide funds for them to renovate some of their facilities, to replace the roof on the facility as a way to preserve our county history that we're all very proud of. If you haven't been there, it's a great place to go, and it takes you through the early part of our county's history through the present day. There's a number of references to the rich military history that our county has always had here, and it's a great way to spend an afternoon. You spend days in there trying to go through and process all of those exhibits, but that's where we felt like it was most beneficial to invest our time and energy and funds to commemorate the history of our county. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you. We don't get to do this a whole lot, and Mr. Bennett and I were just talking before that, this used to be sort of an annual recurring thing that we would do with our community partners. And I think with our new chamber leadership, Mrs. Knight, we're looking forward to working with you and heard a lot of great things about you. That we'll continue that process forward, because we're a community, we're all in this together. Somebody mentioned resiliency earlier. That's one of the fundamental traits of this county that you'll see time and time again, whether it be through hurricanes or other adversities that we've all faced. This county has always come together. So thank you all. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Tommy, for your leadership. Are you glad you came this morning? I have learned so many new things and so many fun facts, for sure, for sure. Thank you all for being here. We're grateful for all the speakers who came out, took some time to come out and share with us. And we're thankful for all of you, you're leaders in our community. And we're thankful for each and every one of you. Feel free to stay and network if you wish. And that concludes our program. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you.